Okay, we're up to Lamed Tes Amid Beis by the two dots. We're going to see a brisa, interesting brisa. So Berishayna initially, where the lines get wide, 4 lines down. Berishayna shohayim miskaven l'shem mitzvah. Initially, with the people miskaven l'shem mitzvah, they were on a higher madrega and they could do yibum l'shem mitzvah. The mitzvah yibum kodemes the mitzvah chalitza. The mitzvah of yibum would take precedence of the mitzvah of chalitza. However, Yachshav now niskatna hadoris shem miskaven l'shem mitzvah, that they're not miskaven totally for the mitzvah. Amru, they say mitzvah chalitza kodemes the mitzvah yibum. The chalitza should go ahead and come before yibum. Amrei v'rachamar Yitzchak chazru loymar mitzvah yibum kodemes the mitzvah chalitza. The mitzvah of yibum comes first. They went back. In other words, initially yibum, when it was a higher madrega, lower madrega, they went to chalitza first, and now they went back to what? They went back to yibum. In other words, the people got bigger, they got better all of a sudden. Usually when daris go down, they continue to go down. They don't go ahead, they don't make a comeback. How to make a comeback? You could do yibum. Says Gemara, no. Meikara Savlik Abishol, who we met earlier. Initially they held like Abishol, the Tanya. Who's Abishol? Let's meet Abishol. Abishol, we met him before, we meet him again. Hakona says Yevintoi l'shem noi. Someone goes ahead and marries Yevamot because of attractiveness, l'shem ishus, or l'shem ishus, l'shem davar acher, anything but not for the mitzvah. Hilu paga be'erva. It's mamish like he's pagei neishas ach. V'karavani be'ein aliyas avlad mamza chayve krisus. So therefore they held, don't do it. However, the chachamim or mimcham say no. Yevamot yavaleh mikamakim. Whatever the reason is, Yevamot comes aleha, and therefore, so initially the direct didn't get any better, didn't get any worse. They were like this, but initially they held like Abishol. And then they said, no, Allah is like the Chacham. So even though you can't have the right Kavanah, maybe, nonetheless, Yevamot Yavaleh. Mizman Hazeh, we don't do Yibum. In fact, the Sfardim, there has been cases where Sfardim have performed Yibum. The Ramah says we don't do Yibum. Ashkenazim don't do Yibum. We haven't done Yibum in the time of the Gemara, but Sfardim, it seems, yes. I heard of a case in the 1930s. I haven't heard recently, but again, could be. Man Tanel Hadatan Rabbanon. Okay, guys, we're going to have a brisa, a cryptic brisa. We're going to have 2 pshatim, one according to Abishol, one according to the Rabbanon. The Gemara is going to substantiate the Rabbanon's pshat in the brisa and not Abishol's pshat in the brisa. Tan Rabbanon. Yevamot yavai aleha mitzvah. It says to be miyabim Yevam is a mitzvah. Shebetchila haisolav bechlal heta. Initially, before she married your brother, she was mutter. Before she married your brother, she was completely mutter. Now, Nesra, when she married your brother, she became asa. V'chazar v'hutra, and when your brother died, then what? She came back to being mutter. Yachal tachsa l'chayter harishain. I might think she goes back to the original heter. Tamad lema yama yavei mitzvah. Okay, we have to fill that in. So initially, she's mutter to everybody. She marries your brother, she's asa. Now the brother dies by Elena without children, she's mutter. I might think to the what? The original heta, kamashmal mitzvah. What exactly does it mean, going back to the original heta and mitzvah? It's a very cryptic line. What does it mean? We can touch the words. What does it mean? It says, so what does it mean? Mantana, who is the Tana of this brisa? Rabbi Yitzchak bar Avdimi Abishol, who it's Abishol. Says Rabbi Yitzchak bar Avdimi, it's Abishol. And here's the filling in the blanks. Here's how you fill in the blanks. Yevamot yavai aleha mitzvah. Why? Initially, she was b'chal heta when she was what? A penuya. Ratzah l'shemnai kainsa, ratzah l'shemishas kainsa. She's a penuya. You can marry her for whatever reasons, whether attractiveness, any reason. Nesra, she came awesome when she married your brother. Chazar v'chutra. Yachal tax l'tera rishon, to be able to go ahead and marry your Yevama because of Noya, because of Ishus. Again, you guys, I might think she goes back to the status of what she was when she was a Penuya, which is you could marry her for attractiveness. Talmud Leima, Yevama yavai aleha lemitzvah. Only for the mitzvahs of Yibum and no ulterior motive. It has to be the mitzvahs of Yibum. That's the way Abishol would fit in. So initially, the woman's mutter, you can marry her because she's pretty. Then she becomes usher, she marries your brother. Then her brother dies and she falls again. I might think you go back to the original heta to marry her because the prettiest. Talmud Leima, yama yavai mitzvah. Dafka the mitzvah yibum and not for any other reason. That's the way Abishol would go ahead. We fit into the brisa, the words of the brisa. Rava Amar, Rava disagrees. Rava disagrees. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Avdimi in the uptight of this brisa. Rava Amar, afilu tema rabbanon. You could even say the rabbanon. V'hachi kamar. Yevamot yavai aleha mitzvah. Shebitchila ha'isa b'chal heta. She was a penuya. Now, Nothing to do with noi, nothing to do with ishus. Rotza kainsa, rotza eina kainsa. He could marry her, he can't marry her. Again, you could. Nesra, now that she be married to another man, you can't marry her. Chazra v'hutra, now a brother died, she's mutter again to marry. Yachal taxel heter rishain, which is what? Rotza kainsa, rotza eina kainsa. Whether you can or you can't. Tamalaim, it says, therefore it says, for Gemara, how could you have a havamina that you can't? Ratza ain't a kainsa? Hagidaba, there's a zika. How could you think that what? You don't do anything. So Tapik, she goes going to free with nothing? We know there's zika. Ela ema, ratza kainsa, ratza chaylitzla. I might think she wants, you can marry her, or you give chalitza, Tamalaim, yavalaha is a mitzvah. Okay, so let's go back over it. Let's recap. Here's what we have. We have, guys, look at me. We have heta, issa, heta, and the heta is a mitzvah. So both agree by the heta is what? What's the heta? Eishes ish. Penuya. However, they're looking at two different aspects of the penuya. Abba Shaul is looking at the aspect you can marry her for her attractiveness, and the chachamim and the chachamim and Rabbi is saying no. We're looking at it was what? You can marry her or not marry her. Either way, right? That's it. That's what you're looking at. She becomes awesome and she marries the brother. Brother dies, now she becomes mutter. I might think she goes back to the original status. Lloyd Abba Shaul to marry her for attractiveness. Only the mitzvah, not for attractiveness. Like the Chachamim, I might think you go back to the original heta. Ratza marry her, ratza give chalitza. Mitzvah yibum and not chalitza. Those are the two pshatim. Now, the beginning of that brisa has another totally different thing, a totally different subject. And the Gemara is going to say the only one who fits in this subject is the Rabbanan's interpretation, not Abba Shaul's. So since the Rabbanan's the only one that fits in over here, it's the Rabbanan that's correct by the Yibum, by the Seifa. In other words, we have A and B. A clearly can't be like Abba Shaul, so it must be, since A and B are in the same sphere, it must be that B is also not like Abba Shaul. Now, what's the first one? Speaking about the Korban Mincha. Okay, says the Gemara. What does it say by the Korban Mincha? Ema Reisha, the ratio of that brisa, matzas te'achol b'mah. Very appropriate, guys. Rabbi Rosenzweig is going to go out of his mind today. Guaranteed, he's going to go out of his mind today. I'm guaranteeing it. I'm telling you, I'm whetting his appetite. I know he's going to go out of his mind because every one of you is going to go out of your mind when you see this Gemara today. Your mamishka in the middle of your Yevamot comes this Gemara dafka on. This is tomorrow's daf, guys. This is Tesvav. Your mamishka going to go nuts. Now it says matzah toichel b'makom kadosh. You should eat the korban mincha as a matzah b'makom kadosh. You should eat the matzah as b'makom kadosh. Mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. Now let's go back. Guys, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go back mutta asa mutta. We're going to do the same thing, right? The same thing as we did by Yibum. We're going to do by matzah. Initially, before you were magdish this flour, it was mutta, right? You could do anything you want with it. When you went ahead and made it kodesh, nesra, it was asa now. It's what your moel behegdish. The chazor v'hutra, when you did kamitza, now it becomes mutter again, correct? So again, initially it was chulin, it was kodesh, and now you went ahead, you did kamitza, and matted the shirayim to the kahanim. Good. Now, what you might think, what? So I would think yachal tachsel etera rishain, and again, cryptically, what does that mean? Talmud loymar, matzis tayachal mamakom kadosh mitzvah. So now, when it goes back, it doesn't go back to the original heta. It stays what? Somewhat in the midst of matzah. Now, bishleim l'rava, Rava who learned Peshat by Yavam. If you want to marry her, you want to give a chalitza, you have two sides to the coin. The Amar Hamani Rabbanan, he who said the din by Yibum is not Abba Shaul, has that, but you can marry what? A girl because of any reason you want. The Rabbanan, he hachi kamar. Over here, here's the way you would learn Peshat in the Reisha by matzahs. Matzahs teyachal b'makom kadosh mitzvah. Shebetchila ha'isala b'chol heta. You can do anything you want with it. Ratza oichla, ratza ein oichla. Good. Let's continue. Let's keep the parentheses. Nesra, it became aser. Nesra, it became aser when it was kodesh. The chazor v'hutra when they did kamitza. Yachal tatzla tera rishain, which would mean ratza oichla, ratza ein oichla. That's the first heta. If you want to eat it, you could eat it. If you want to, you're not. So the same thing over here. The first heter would be the same status it was before it was kodesh. If you want to eat it, you could eat it. You want to not eat it, you don't eat it. How can you have that? How can you take into account that possibility of that side that eino oichla? V'ksiv it says v'achlu oisam asher kupa behem v'achlu oisam, and they the kohanim should eat it asher kupa behem. Melamit shekanim oichlin u'bailim miskapin. In order for the baal to get the kapara, they have to eat it. So there's no option not to eat it. So therefore, we must look for another possibility of chazal leheta. What are the two tzadim? I might think he eats it. I think another kohen eats it. Talmud loymar matzas tayachal b'machem kodesh mitzvah. So it's a mitzvah that he should eat it. Okay. So now, bishleima like the chachamim, you have two sides to the coin, right? Either he eats it or somebody else eats it, but you have to eat it. El Rav Yitzchak Rav Dimi, the Amar Abishol, he who says it's Abishol, hacha maitrei gavni ikka. What two sides to the coin do you have over here? Again, what was Abishol? Abishol is noi, you can marry because of noi. Tamaloi mitzvah, you can marry because of noi. What, you have nice matzahs, not nice matzahs. In other words, to be like Abishol, it has to be consistent. Just like the ratio, there's two sides to the coin, the sefer, there's two sides to the coin. Loiter Rabbanan have two sides to the coin. Either you can eat it or another coin eat it. Tamaloi, it's a mitzvah for you to eat it. What's the other side of the coin, Abishol? Then the Gemara will make a few suggestions. All right, the Gemara is going to make a few suggestions. What might be? If you want, you can eat it for satiation, or you want to eat it like a binge eating and fresh and shove it down your throat till you're sick. 1 second. Achilas gasa mishmei achila is achilas gasa mishmei achila. V'amrei shlokish oichel achilas gasa v'im kippah pata le'suneh. Guys, we did this in Chulin, in Yuma. We said the Isser is Inui. Inui is what? Is to pain yourself. Not eating is paining yourself. We said if you overeat, it's not considered achila. You'd be pata from chorus. So obviously, if there's a mitzvah to eat, the other side of achilas gasa can't be that side. So I only have one side now. So your attempt was what's achila normal, what's achila gasa? Achila gasa, no. Achila gasa is out. That's not a possibility on the other side of the coin. Why? Because achilas gasa is nishkain achila. Oh. Let's try another attempt of a two-sided coin. Ella, rotza matzah echeles, rotza chametz echeles. Okay, maybe the two sides of the coin. I could eat it as matzah, or I can eat it as chametz. In other words, I can go ahead and leaven the shirayim. Like siv, leisufa chametz chelkam, and it's not going on in the part that goes in the mizbeach from Reish Lakish. I feel chelkam leisuvim chametz. They can't eat chametz. So again, we've done away with the other option. Rotza matzah, rotza chametz. It can't be chametz. It can't be achilas gasa. What's the other side to the coin? Ella rotza oichla, rotza cholet. Rotza, I would eat ella rotza matzah oichla, rotza cholet. I could eat it as matzah, or I could eat it as chalita. Chalita is you boil it first. You put the wheat, the flour. You're putting it in. You're putting it in hot boiling water. So I would think you have a choice. Says the Gemara, rotza cholet oichla. Says hay cholet hey chidami. How are you going to view chalet? How are you going to view it? Techidami I matzahi. If chalet is considered matzah, ha matzahi, it's matzah. In other words, it's not two sides to a coin. It says you should eat it matzah. So anyway, I eat it. If it's called matzah, it's matzah, right? Guys, whether it's baked matzah or it's boiled matzah, it's matzah. I'm yotze the pasuk that says eat it as matzah. So that's not a second side of the coin. The Eloi matzahi. Matzis Amar Achmana. So what is, you can't tell me two sides of the coin is one side is to eat it as matzah baked and one side is to eat it as chalet, because Memanim Shach, it's either is matzah or it's not matzah. So it's either in the ballpark or out of the ballpark. So you don't have two sides to the coin, like Abishol. I'll tell you matzahi. It's taka matzah. It's taka matzah. So if it's matzah, so what's the chiddush? Ulahachitana bekra la'akev. It says what? It's teaching me that the kohen cannot eat it chalet. The kohen cannot eat dipped in boiling water his mincha. You can't do that. Fred the Gemara, if that's the case, why is chalet considered matzah? El chalet matzi de karmina l'may hilchasa. What halacha are you calling it what? Are you calling it what? Matzah. Loy melacha she'adam yoytza ba yidei chavasa b'pesach. A person can be yaitza his chiyuv with what? With matzah that is boiled. Afal pi de chalita meikara. Since you initially boiled it, kivin the hadar afyi betanar. Once you go back and bake it in an oven, lechem oni karina bei. But adam yaitza yidei chavasei bepesach, and a person can yaitza his chiyuv matzah pesach. What are the chances in the middle of Yevamot? Look at his ears right there. Guys, what's the chance in the middle of Yevamot to come up with this Gemara? It's crazy. On Tes Vav, where's the mitzvah of Achilas Matzah? This has to be up there with the Avodah Zarah on December 24th. It's got to be right up there.
And we did the daf ahead. It's not even today's daf. It's tomorrow's daf. It's even better. Noch besser.
It's unbelievable. It's tomorrow's daf. They'll know. We'll get to it a day earlier. They'll get to it a day later. That's all. We'll get to it right before the night. But it's unbelievable. Memela, in Pshat in the Gemara, Abba Shol Taka doesn't work out. It's matzah. And he doesn't work out. There's no two sides to the coin. I got the fact of so why is it called matzah? The kohen can't eat chalita. That matzah is chalid can't eat it. So why is it called matzah then if you can't eat it? The Gemara says, but you could be yotzei the chiyuv of matzah's mitzvah this evening with matzah that had been chalid and then baked. I think I saw this guys. I went Benji. You go nuts. It's unbelievable. It's fantastic. Okay, back to Yevamot. Yeah, it's mamish crazy. Back to Yevamot. Hacholis v'yevimtoi. Some gives chalitza to his Yevama. Hayu ke'ech min ha'achin l'nachla. Now, what would happen normally, fellas? We learned already that if the one that does yibum, he gets the brother's nachla. It's not divided among the brothers. Now, the brothers didn't have a son, and let's say the father's dead. So who would inherit according to the Yesh Nachlin? Brothers, paternal brothers would inherit each other. So therefore, if he did yibum, he would go ahead what? And he would go ahead and jump the gun. He would get before them. What happens if he does chalitza? So that says the Mishnah, he would share with the brothers. He would share with the brothers. And if there's a father, then the chasim shalav, then the father inherits the dead brother before the brothers do. Okay, so now, chalitza, he's equal to the brothers. If there's a father that's alive and he does chalitza, he would get it before. What happens if there's a father alive and he does yibum? Guys, what happens if there's a father alive and he does yibum? Machlokes. Says the Gemara, HaKohen says yivimtai zocha bin chasim shalachiv. HaKohen says yivimtai, someone does yibum, he's zeicha what in the nechasim of what of his dead brother, even if there's a father. Rabbi Yehuda don't even know benkach whether he does chalitza or even yibum. In yesham av nechasim shalav, the father would go ahead and get the nechasim. The father would get the nechasim. If there's a father, the father would get the nechasim. Now pshita says the Gemara on the first din of the Mishnah. Just because he gave chalitza, why should he lose his portion? Pshita, he's a brother, and all brothers, all brothers inherit a brother. I might think chalitza is in the place of yibum. Finishkal kula, and he should nachasim. Maybe he should get the whole kit and caboodle. You know, it's not chiddush is in him. The chiddush is that the other brothers get, right? Which is not so geschmack in the lashon of the Mishnah. The lashon of the Mishnah is mashma that the brothers get and he also gets. The way you're learning pshat is the brothers also get. Don't say he's like one of the brothers. Say he's only like one of the brothers and not any better. He's not any better, but just like we did Yibam, he get the whole thing. So too, he does Chalitza, he gets the whole thing. The lashon of the Mishnah is mashma that he doesn't lose his portion. The way you're learning is he doesn't gain more. And it's he's only like one of the brothers. I would have thought. I might think since he went ahead by doing Chalitza, he stopped all the brothers from doing Yibum, and therefore Lichna say that what? He shouldn't get Nachla. Kamash Malon that what? No. Kamash Malon that what? That he does get Nachla. Kamash Malon he gets Nachla. Says the Gemara. In Yesham Av, he said if there's a father and this Chalitza, the father inherits. And Rabbi Yehuda said even if you do Yibum, the father inherits. That the father would get even before the Yavam. The Amamar, Av koidim l'chol yotzi yirecha. Why does the father inherit? Because what? The master says that what? That it's a sugi in the Yesh Neichlin that the father inherits before everyone else. HaKohen says Yevimtoi, Samas Kohen says Yevimtoi, says Rabbi Yehuda, Ben Kach, the father gets. My timer, why does he get, according to the Tanakama, Yokam Hashem Achiv Amrachmana? And we said earlier that it didn't mean that you call him by the same name. In Daf Chav Daled, we said this is the pasuk is Yotzim Midei Pshutoi, and we said that what? Amrachmana, Bahari Kam. He takes the place of the brother, and the Mamish, he takes the place of the brother. Rabbi Yehuda, Ben Kach, the father gets first. So we look for a reason for the father. Amula halach Rabbi Yehuda. The halach is like Rabbi Yehuda. The Chena Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha halach Rabbi Yehuda. Halach is in conjunction with Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, the halach is like Rabbi Yehuda. That what? That even if he's alive, when does he get it? Only if the father's dead. If the father's alive, the father would cease. Even if he does yibum, the father would get the nachla of the dead brother. My time with Rabbi Yehuda. What's Rabbi Yehuda's reasoning that the father comes first? The Chsiv, it says, "V'hoya b'chor sheteled." The pasuk says, "V'hoya b'chor sheteled yukam Hashem achiv." So kibechar will treat him like a bechar. Ma bechar ein loy b'chaye av. Just like the bechar does not get pishnayim when the father is still alive. Av hainami ein loy b'chaye av. He does not get the nachla in the lifetime of his father. In other words, Rabbi Yehuda is saying the following, fellas. Rabbi Yehuda is saying, I think that once the father dies, of course he would get this portion of the brother. It won't be divided among the brothers. He just doesn't get it now. So Fred the Gemara, if you're telling me the source is Bechar, so why don't we say that what? That he should get Pishnayim, that the Bechar should get Pishnayim. That the Yavam should get Pishnayim like a Bechar, that the Yavam should get Pishnayim like a Bechar. Fred the Gemara, and for the Gemara, Midei Yakam Hashem Aviv Ksiv. It doesn't say Yakam Hashem Aviv, it says Yakam Hashem Achiv. Yakam Hashem Achiv Ksiv. V'loy Hashem Aviv. Eima Heicha Deleka Av. Maybe where there's no father, then Lishkal Nachla, to Sky Mitzvah Yibam. Then there's only a Mitzvah Yibam then. Heicha De'ika Av. Heicha De'ika Av. So maybe the din of Yibum is only when there's no father, but when there's a father and there's no nachla, there's no Yibum. Maybe it's Hava Italia, maybe it's all one big thing. But for the Gemara, Yibum ben nachla tali rachmana Yibum yibumi. Yibum is nachla is a byproduct of Yibum, it doesn't cause Yibum. In other words, you do Yibum. If there's anything to be divided among the brothers, you'll get the whole thing, and that's it. Yosef Rav Chanina Kara Kamid Rav Yanai. For Yosef, he was sitting in V'Kamar, and he said, "Yosef V'Kamar halach Rabbi Yehuda." The halach is like Rabbi Yehuda. So Amalei. So Rabbi Yanai told Rav Chanina, "Poik kari karach." Go ahead and take it outside. No, it's not. You're not correct. The halach is not like Rabbi Yehuda, right? Lebra. Ain't halach Rabbi Yehuda. Tani Kamed of Nachman. There was a reciter of Bryce in front of Nachman. Ein alach Rabbi Yehuda. Amalei el Kaman Kirabanan Pshita. So it's pasha that like the Chachamim. Yachid Rab Malach Karabim. So Amalei. So Rav Nachman said, the reciter in front of Nachman said, "Asmei, should I go ahead and erase this price?" So Amalei loy at halacha isnayich. You obviously someone learned the halacha was like that. Umuksha hu the actual and there was the kashawad of Yachiv Rab halacha lechachamim. But afcha, well, my afcha shap afcha. You know, it was the Bryce was still around over there, and since what the Bryce was still around, that they were learning halacha Rabbi Yehuda, better to leave it in place to say that what the halacha is like the chachamim. Okay. The next Mishnah brings us back to something that I thought we would not want to go back to. It's the mitzvah of shniyos. I hope you have your books. If you don't have your books, you have to hack the tzaris. But again, Kedarki will go in as quickly as we can. Okay, let's see what we're talking about. Page 209. Page 209. Shimon, should I send you a picture? Oh, you have the book. Okay, great. Benji, should I send you a picture? Okay, anyway.
I wouldn't mind.
You wouldn't mind? Okay, so I'll stop the video. Okay, page 209. If someone gives the chitza to Yevama, he's asin akrayvim. In other words, guys, we'll treat the chalitza as if you divorced the woman. So the same erva you would have on a divorce is the same erva that you have in a chalitza. So, for example, on page 209, he gives chalitza to the chalutza, going through the various people that he's asa to. Number one, obviously the mother, because it's like the mother-in-law. Chalutza, think about chalutza as your married wife. And so you're usher in her mother, that's the mother-in-law. You're usher in number two, that's the mother of the mother-in-law, right? That's also it's a streifa. You're usher in number three, that's the mother of the father. And number four, you're usher in the daughter, which is what is like the wife, is like the wife, the daughter of your wife. Ubaspita, baspina, achoisa, all these would be usher. And again, all you have to do is look at the relationships that would create the usher. Conversely, she is usher in his kroivim. Okay, so look at her. That's on the bottom of page 209. She's usher to marry the father because it's like his daughter-in-law, kalasai. It's right. And avi aviv, it's like kalas benoi. The grandfather would be the kalas benoi. And number three, the issa would be benoi would be eishes aviv. Right, it's like the wife of your father, the chalutza. Just view the chalutza as if she was a wife, and then all these things extend. Right, once you view as a wife, it's all one extension. And therefore, number five, the brother should be also. That's Eish, that would be like Eishes achiv, Eishes ach. And number six would be like an aunt. Eishes achi aviv would be like an aunt. So he's usher in her, and he's usher in him. Okay, let's do two more. And then we can go away from the pictures for a while. Okay. Let's go back. I lost the page. I'll go back. Page 169. Page 169. Mutta Adam, a person is mutta, bikroivas saris chalutzaso, the relatives of the tzara of his chalutza. The relatives of the tzara of his chalutza. What does that mean? So Reuven goes ahead, and Reuven's Leah falls to Yibum. Chana is the tzara, right, guys? Shimon's married to Leah and Chana. So Chana and Leah are tzaris. Reuven gives chalitza to Chana. Reuven's giving chalitza to Chana. Reuven would be mutta in the sister, in Rachel, who is the korev of Tsaras Chalutzaso. Leah is the tsara of Chana. Leah is the sister is the co-wife of the tsara of the one he gave chalitza to. So he gave chalitza to Chana. That makes Leah Tsaras Chalutzaso. Rachel, who's the sister, is what? Is the korev of Tsaras Chalutzaso. Good. Now go back to page 167. Asa adam mitzaras kroivas chalutzaso. Now this sounds the same, but it's not, because over here he's not giving chalitza to the tzara. He's giving chalitza to the erva. He's giving chalitza to the sister. In the first case before, he gave it to Chana, not to Leah and Rachel. Right? Guys, look at me. Over here, watch. Look at my fingers. He gave it to the tzara, not to the erva. Over here, he's giving the chalitza to the erva. So look, over here on 143.3, he went ahead, Ruvain, and he gave the chalitza to the erva, to Leah, who's Rachel is asa to Ruvain, it's achas ishtai. So therefore, in that scenario, listen to this. Chana would be asa to Ruvain, because Chana is the tzara of the kroiva of chalitzaso. His chalutza was Leah, the krova was Rachel, and Chana is the tzara. And without this picture, I could not tell you what the heck I said. I'll tell you, you just see the difference between who the chalitza is going to, and it makes it's gavaldik. Okay, now let's go inside the Gemara. Says the Mishnah on the bottom of Mem. Says the Mishnah, Hachoilis liyivimtoi hu asa b'krayvaseha fi aisur b'krayvav. If someone gives chalitza to his yivama, he's asa in her krayvim, and she's asa in his krayvim. We saw the picture. Who's the asmin the ima, aim avia, bita, bas bino, va'chaisa. Bismanchi kayemes, because then it's achasishtoi. However, his brother would be mutter in all of these. Guys, all of these are only ervas to him because the view is his wife, correct? Your brother would be mutter in these. He asura ba'aviv, she is usher and his father, will be avi aviv his grandfather, will be benoy and his son, will be ben benoy and his grandson, ba'achiv his brother, will be ben achiv and the son of his brother, because she'll be us like an aunt. And muta adam b'kroivas tzaris chalutza. So muta, a person would be muta in the relative of the tzaris chalutza. If he gave his chalutza to Chana, who's not a relative but has a co-wife who is a relative, that would be muta. Conversely, the asib tzaris kroivas chalutza. So if you would go ahead, Chana and Rachel Leah, if you give chalitza to Chana to Rachel, then if Leah was married to somebody else, you'd be answering that somebody else. Okay, now iboilahu. We know extensively, guys. Let's go back in time. We know that there was a whole list of shniyos. I don't think you have to need a chart for this, but if you want to go back to a daf that Chaim Klagsman joined the share on because he found it painless when everyone else was crazy, you might want to go back to see the shniyos, guys. The shniyos they're found on page 130. Again, we said a shniya is the gezerah atu anerva, right? So therefore, a grandmother is asa because a mother is asa. Let's stick with one. One is always very easy to do with. I always stick with one because then it makes it a little easier. A person can marry his mother. A person with the raisa should be able to marry his grandmother, but he can't because with geyser, grandmother atu mother. So everyone is a shniya is geyser atu another one. We said, for example, he can't marry his daughter-in-law, so therefore he can't marry Kalas Beno. He can't marry his daughter-in-law. He can't marry the daughter of his son. The daughter-in-law of his son, he can't marry at the Kalasai. Good. That's going down direction. So therefore, the Gemara wants to know by Chalitza. Why Chalitza is there than a Shniya? In other words, were they guys a Shniyas by Chalitza or not? That's what we want to know. And we're gonna, in the end, we're gonna say that. Okay, we're gonna say what the din was. We're going to be goyza. We're going to see in the end that they were goyza. I'm going to go through this Gemara quickly for two reasons. One, I'm in a rush, and two, it's a lot of words that are just back and forth, the same type of words. So the same shniyos. Iboilahu.
The chalitza runs parallel to get.
What?
It runs parallel to get. The chalitza runs parallel to get. What's usher in mutter?
Again, you need a get. It's not. I wouldn't work it as a get. I would say that. Yeah, parallel to get. Okay. Right. View the chalutza as his wife. That's the best way to view it. View the chalutza as his full-fledged wife, and then the aroyas. Now we want to know by a full-fledged wife, we geyser these. Were you geyser by chulutza? And the answer is yes. Okay, now ibaylu gazer shniya bechalutzas oiloi. Be'erva deraisa gazer berabanan. By never deraisa they were geyser rabanan. Shniyas bechalutza like gazer rabanan. Shniyas idil maloishna. Maybe there's no difference. Tashma. The Mishnah said, "Who asa be'ima, who be'emima." He's asa in what her mother, and aim ima, the mother of the mother, which is mother-in-law. But it doesn't say the ilu aim ima. It doesn't say the mother of the mother-in-law. It doesn't say that. That would be the shniya. It doesn't say that. So l'chayra, let's be poishit that they weren't geyser shniyas by chalutza. It says Mullah, you don't have a raya. Katani dilma the ilu aim ima like Katani. Says Dilma Hainu time Delatani Mishum the Kaboy Limisne Seifa. We have to learn the Seifa Va'achim Mutarim, the Achim Amuta, V'itana, and if what? V'itana. Just one second, guys. Okay, so we stop by learning the Shniyas. So we want to bring a raya that they're not going to Shniyas. So the Gemara says, no, you have no raya. Why? Because maybe the reason we learned that we didn't say is because the achim mutarim dafka be'aim imay, avo be'aim imay ve'imay loy. You know, the brothers would be muta, but maybe what aim imay loy. So therefore, we learned what we didn't list that because you would have said maybe dafka in the shniya the brothers, but not the aim imay the brothers would be yasa kamash malan. Velisni aim imay, velisni achim mutarim learn both. The kulon says my kashay nachnet shver tashma. He asura ba'aviv. Uba Avi Aviv. She's asa to his father, right? That's like kalasai. Uba Abi Aviv. Katani Mias Avi Aviv. My lab mishum cholutz. The Havila kalis beno, which is what kalis beno, guys, is a shnia. Kalis beno is what is your son's wife. Kalis beno, it's a shnia. So l'chayra, let's say they were going to shnia sparayis loy mishum misna. The Havila kalis beno. In other words, fellas. The cholitz is the brother of the dead brother. The shnia over here is not machmis the chalutza, guys. It's machmis his dead brother. His dead brother was the shnia. Guys, if the whole shiloh about a chalutza means there were two brothers, and there's a father, the daughter of a father is the same to both of them. So it's the shnia is not machmis what the chalutz. The shnia is machmis the dead brother. Tashma u'bevem beno. My love mishum chalutz, the havilei eishes avi aviv, lai mishum misna, the havilei eishes avi aviv. Who? Amema machshe be'eishes achi aviv. He matted in that case. I said so. Amema let amema l'chari. We say you're not going to shnia b'royas. No. Mukila b'ba b'rod the saba. Yihachi hainu achiv b'ben achiv. Tanachiv mina av v'tani achiv mina aim. You learn both. Tashma. The Tani Reb Chia. Arba b'midei Torah. Arba b'midei Seifrim. I think I sent this picture to them. 211 quickly. There's four cases over here. Some are Divrei Torah and some are what do we have, guys? You have over here. You have what's also Av and Beno, Achiv 1, 2, 3, and 4 are also Deraisa. 5, 6, 7, and 8 are what the Rabbanim. Let's go weiter. Okay. Of uben achiv midrei Torah, avi aviv avi imoy ben benoi ben bitoi midrei seifrim. Tani mias avi aviv. My lab mishum b'chalutz, and therefore you could. That's a shnia. Avilei kalas beno loy mishum misna. Avilei kalas beno, again the same relationship because it's the dead brother. Of course, it's a shnia to the dead brother, but not created machmas the chalitza. Tashma avi imoy my lab mishum chalutz. Avilei kalas bitoi loy mishum misna. Avilei kalas bitoi. The same Gemara. Tashma uben beno my love mishum chelitz davle eishes avi aviv. It's the wife of your grandfather, of your father's brother, father's father, grandmother. Lo mishum misna davle eishes achi aviv. For amem machshe beishes achi aviv. It's not in the shnia. And for Gemara amem muki lo mishum chelitz. Amem would have to say that there is a shnia to chalitza. Uksav goes shnia is bechalitza. Tashma uben bitoy ma lo mishum chelitz davle eishes avi imoy lo mishum misna davle eishes achi aviv imo. Of the gabe shnias the ervalei gazru Allah mishum chalitz, because it must be because of what chalitza shmamina gazru shnias bechalutza shmamina. You have a very good raya. Okay, I think it's very behooves us. It's approaching the seder to go through a piece that I've gone through before. It's a piece from Rabbi Kiva Eger. I have it on the screen. I'll share it with you. We can see this, guys. Okay, says Rabbi Kiva Eger. This is a drasha from Rabbi Kiva Eger, given well over 200 years ago in the Shabbos Hagadol. What does he say? The Leil Pesach Yisnag b'kedusha u'biyira. In the Leil of Pesach, you should go ahead and be noyig with kedusha, biyira, with awe, u'lismoyach, and happiness. B'mitzvahs shezika Hashem oisanu b'layla hazeh. The mitzvah that Hashem gives us this night. Mitzvahs essay shel kiddush. Mitzvahs essay shel kiddush. It's the Raisa, Shabbos. Mitzvahs essay shel achilas matzah. The mitzvahs essay of matzah. Mitzvahs mora, which is the Rabbanon. Vidal Kaises, which is the Rabbanon. Bamiras Hala, which is the Rabbanon. So all these mitzvahs. Ach b'tenai, with one condition. Shetzarech li zoher sheyoichel kezayis matzah b'ravcha v'lei b'tzimtzum. That should eat a kezayis of matzah with a correct amount, the revach, more abundant, for leibit simsim, and not exact. A little bit, you can mamish blow it. You can go ahead and mamish blow it. Uledaiti, says Rabbi Kiva Eger, mi sheyesh leimoyach b'kakadai. Anyone who's got a brain in his head, umayim b'teres Hashem, and believes in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, eich lo yiches al nafshoi. How can you not have rachmanis on yourself? And you shouldn't be scared. A mitzvah like this. You can't go ahead and be zeicha until the next year. How do you know you're going to live to the next year? How do you know? You're going to lose this mitzvah. A once a year shot. Tomorrow night's the Rabbanon. Tesvav is the Erev Toichlu Matzos. V'dailonu ba'avonasenu arabim b'mitzvos haragilim. It's enough that we go ahead and don't keep the mitzvahs that we're accustomed to. Kamei tefillin, birchas hamazon, she'enu anu megdagdim ba. V'lama nasa kezeh b'mitzvos elu rachman tzlan. Why should we go ahead and take this mitzvah and not go ahead and do it correctly? I still remember growing up, my father didn't go to yeshiva. My father was born in 1916. He didn't go to yeshiva. He was Orthodox Jew. We had a seder. Everyone was yoitze with the three matzahs. He would go ahead. He would break the top matzah, the middle matzah, give out a little brechlach to everybody. Never yoitze. Zero. You got to eat between 15 and 25 grams. You got to, and they be machmir. Go to 25 grams. Measure 25 grams. Take a sheet, measure. It's a little more than half a matzah. Again, it's better to do weight because mashas vary in volume. But again, what I just showed you right there was like an anchor. It was heavy as anything. You wouldn't see it. But it weighed a ton. I'm saying, but it's geschmack. You do the mitzvahs. I have right now, guy, someone measuring out the shiurim that because it's such an opportunity, guys. When you eat that matzah, think about it. Once a year, I'm going ahead and doing a mitzvah, especially if you don't like matzah. If you start beginning to starve like I am, when you get to the matzah, it's shine, right? But think about it. It's such an opportunity. The Morah says Rabbi Kiva Ega. He says a very interesting lesson. Again, Rabbi Kiva Ega didn't have romaine lettuce. All the romaine lettuce he had was all like ours. But look what he says. Look what he says about Morah. He says about romaine lettuce. Again, he probably ate raw horseradish. Every year we're makabel to serve Hashem with our whole nefesh. Why should we go ahead and be makbid on this little amount of tsar? Why should we makbid on this little amount of tsar that we're going through? Says Reb Kiva Ega, Ani mavtiach be'emuna, I mavtiach you, I guarantee you, right? A person does mitzvahs with a desire, with cheshek, in simcha, bezuha rega, this minute, ani mekayim mitzvahs boire. You think in this time, mamish in this time, I'm being mekayim the mitzvah Kadosh Baruch Hu, kemat lo yargish miriris klau. Kemat, you won't go ahead and feel it at all. You won't feel it. You have in mind, like Chaim said, I've had some horseradish that came from other places. You open up the bag and but you go ahead, you put it in your mouth, and you burn, and you say, I'm doing the mitzvah Kadosh Baruch Hu, and no one wants to do this for that reason. The only reason I'm doing this, you are Kadosh Baruch Hu. Think about what's waiting for you. It's an unbelievable thing. Unbelievable. So again, any mitzvah tonight to go ahead and do the right way is a fantastic thing. To set the tone for the Seder, I give you another man makom, and this is my favorite man makom. It's half of a fella. It's half of a fella, and this is not it. Let me get it. Again, this is not it. Got to fool around with this a little bit. You know me by now. No, that's not it either.
Which one? The Sefer Isaiah?
Nope.
Is it possible to send those Mari Makomos out as a PDF?
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's try to see. This is a Ramban. This is a Ramban at the end of Parshas Bo. This is Ramban at the end of Parshas Bo. Now, let me just preface it. I'll give you the. Let me see if I can get this. I'll get it going in a second. Here's the Ramban. Here we go. You can see it big? Guys, you see it?
It's good.
Okay. I'm gonna let me paraphrase a little bit while we're introducing, okay? And then the main thing. The Ramban says the following. Ramban says that the reason for many mitzvahs is the following. He said that in Mitzrayim there were three groups of people. There was a person that believed that the world came first, the union of Kadmos, that Hashem didn't create the world. There's a person who believed that Hashem created the world, but he doesn't know what's going on in the world. And then there's a third group that believed that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, knows what's going on in the world, but he's not involved on a day-to-day basis. And what did Hashem do to go ahead and break this? He brought all the makas. He was Mishana the Teva totally of the world. He was Mishana the Teva. Ukasha Yetzel Akim be'eda oy biyachid v'yase imohem moifis b'shini min haga shaloylam v'tivoi yizbara l'chol. It becomes clear to everyone. Bittul adeyas ha'elu kulam. It's mevatel those three opinions that Hashem didn't create the world and that the world, he doesn't know what's going on, or that doesn't know what's hashkacha pratis. Ki ha'moifis hanifla moirish yesh lo'olam elokai michatshoi. If God can play with Teva the way he's playing with Teva, obviously he must have created the world, because look, he's changing the whole mitzias of the world. And he knows what's going on, and the mashkiach and everything. Because look, he's playing with everything. He's changing all Teva. He must be has total control and total knowledge. And when the Navi goes ahead and declares this, when Moshe says it, it shows the clarity of Nevuah, the truth of Nevuah. Guys, it's very important that Nevuah, that Moshe was the Navi of Hashem, because Moshe gave us the Torah. Moshe could have made it up. But now that Moshe said he got it from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he's the Navi of Hashem, we know clearly so that's important. And Hashem reveals his Yisoy to his Nevi'im. And that keeps the whole Torah, because now it's substantiated. Okay, let's skip the next few lines. No one stops Hashem. They would deny. They were in doubt. In Cain, this is the key for the Seder, guys. The Makis, what transpired in Mitzrayim, is what? Eidim ne'emanim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world and gave us the Torah, because it was said Al Yidei Navi. Hashem showed himself one time in history. It's the only religion where there was an openness galus of God, not through Moshe Rabbeinu, not through Yashka Pondrik, not through Muhammad, not through Buddha, not through Black Lives Matters movement. It was Mamish. HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself was Miskala one time in history. And what did that do? It said, I am God, I created the world, I know what's going on in the world, and I'm in charge of Hashgacha, not only every minute, not every second, every nanosecond. Ubavur, ki HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo yasa oisu moifes b'chol dar le'eni kol rasha. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to go ahead and do an oisu moifes in every generation, a kaifer or a denaya. Yitzava his son, who he commands us, shenase tamid zichrein va'ois lasheroi neinu, to make a remembrance to what our own eyes saw thousands of years ago. V'natik hadavar, and to pass down the matter el b'neinu to our sons, u'b'neim to their sons, u'b'neim to their sons, u'b'neim to their sons, l'dar achron, to the end of time. That's the purpose. That's the purpose of the Seder. The purpose of the Seder is you're sitting down and saying, Ani Mamin ben Amunah Shlema, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, knows what's going on in the world, and is in charge of everything. Why? Because thousands of years ago, my father saw that, and his father told him, and his father told him, and his father told him, all the way back to us. And listen to what Pelitic Arias he brings. Pelitic Arias he brings. He brings Pelitic Arias. Guys, we know a little bit. How do we know? We know that I got to go ahead and stop this and get the person and mute somebody. That's what we do know. Okay, we're muted. Guys, what happens if you eat chaza? What do you get? Basa b'chala, what do you get? Pizza, what do you get? Fat. Or if you're mechavin for the right reason, that you're satiated and you're hungry and you want to serve Hashem, you get a mitzvah. What happens if you eat pizza tonight? you get chorus. Something that is the whole year is mutter. The whole year is mutter. Tonight is like eating chaylev, like eating dam, like eating noiser, like eating pickle. Mamish, the most severe. My chalas isuris is mutter the whole year. Mamish, you get the same darga. Why is that? Because the chametz is boitais and mitzrayim. If you're going to eat chametz, what are you showing, guys? This is my interpretation of the Ramban. What are you showing? You're showing you don't believe. You don't believe in you don't believe in that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. You don't go ahead and believe that he knows what's going on. You don't believe in Hashgacha Pratis. And therefore what? Chorus. What does chorus mean? You're cut off. You're not part. You're not part of the Messiah. You're not part of the link. You're not part of the chain. You're gone. You're not part of it. You're not part of it. Mitzvah's essay. You don't want to sit in a sukkah. You don't want to eat tzitzis. You don't want to. There's a din of kfiyah. Bezdin forces you. There's no punishment except two mitzvahs. One of them is the Korban Pesach. If you don't bring the Korban Pesach, guys, you chayiv kares. Why is that? It's a dava pasha now. It's beautiful. If you don't bring a Korban Pesach, what statement are you making? I'm not part of the Messiah. I'm not part of the belief that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world. I'm not part of that. It's all gone. It's all gone. And that's why tefillin, and that's why mezuzah, all these mitzvahs. So Memela, guys, when you sit tonight, this is what I do. Chaim can testify. Make a chain. One generation. Take the elder person, sits at the beginning of the table. Go to the end. Have whoever's there at the end of the chain and say, what do you see at the beginning of the chain? Make an imprint. Imprint in whoever's the youngest there in their mind that, you know what? I'm here because my daddy told me to be here. And you know, my daddy had a daddy, and his daddy had a daddy, and his daddy had a daddy. What we're doing tonight is we're stating, Chayiv Adam Lirsis Atzma Kiliyatz Mitzrayim. What does that mean? You chayiv to go ahead and be maimin in what transpired in Mitzrayim. It's very hard to go ahead and feel you're going out of Mitzrayim. Good, I have a son who's going to dress up with a little, he's going to wear one of these, yeah. And he has all these. He has mix and blood. For the little kids, it might work. But chayiv adam liras esasma kil yasim mitzrayim. What do we chayiv? We're chayiv to go ahead and believe in what the Tzias Mitzrayim was, what the whole Indian Mitzrayim was. Mitzrayim was the one time in history where Hashem revealed himself to all and announced, Ani Hashem who created the world. Ani Hashem who knows exactly what's going on. Ani Hashem who went ahead and is involved in your life every single second of every life, everything. And that's it. And that's the side of the Seder. And you put it into the Seder, everything. And you see as you go through the Seder, all these components, everything that's going on. That's the one big thing of the Seder. There it is, right in front of you. That one big chain, one big link. You're going back, telling you this is the Begadat Levincha. This is the Yesod of the Seder. I wish everyone a Chag Kosh v'Sameach. I thank everyone from the bottom of my heart, my time. Guys, what's life? What's life? Life is Torah. Life is Torah. Ashreinu. We have Torah. Ashreinu, we have each other. To go ahead and be margish the Yitzia. There's Hashem next year, the Shana above Yerushalayim, Perav Yameinu.
Amen. Joy.
Amen. Thank you.